Counterpoint, the general knowledge music quiz, chaired by Paul Gambaccini.
Hello, compliments of the season. Welcome to the Radio Theatre for a new series of Counterpoint. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow described music as the universal language of mankind. In the coming weeks, it will speak to us in many voices and genres as we begin the quest for the 35th BBC Counterpoint champion. Over the course of the next 3 months, we'll also be marking the BBC's centenary with some specially themed questions. Let's get things underway by inviting our first trio of contenders to introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Julian Ashton. I'm from Abingdon in Oxfordshire. The first record I bought was Bridge Over Troubled Water, Simon and Garfunkel.
Hello, my name's LEIGH HAGGAR from Fleet in Hampshire, and I think the first record that I bought was Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick by Ian Dury and the Blockheads.
Hello, I'm ISABELLE HEWARD from Goxhill in North Lincolnshire, and the first record I bought was the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night.
You're all very welcome. The opening round tests musical general knowledge. This being the holiday season, you can expect a few Christmas-themed gifts among the questions and extracts. Good luck, everyone. In the words of Marvin Gaye, let's get it on, as we ask the first question of the 2021 Counterpoint season to Julian Ashton. Which opera is this? Composed by an Austrian, libretto by an Italian, based on a comic story written by a Frenchman, set in Spain, and first premiered in Vienna in 1786.
Marriage of Figaro?
That's right, for 2 points. LEIGH HAGGAR, for the first musical extract of this series, you're about to hear the aria Vidi Cor Meum, written by Irish composer Patrick Cassidy for the 2001 film Hannibal, starring Anthony Hopkins. The music's inspiration is the 13th century sonnet to every captive soul and gentle heart. When you've heard it, I'd like you to name the Italian writer and philosopher who wrote the verse.
Dante Alighieri.
That's right, for 2 points. Isabel, another of Dante's works, shares its title with a band whose hits include National Express and Something for the Weekend. What is their name?
The Divine Comedy.
For 2 points. Back to you, Julian. Here's music from a 21st century ballet based on a 19th century fairy tale. The score is by Soviet-born Australian composer Elena Katz-Sherman, in collaboration with the Australian choreographer Merrill Tankard. When you've heard Elisa's aria, I'd like you to name the ballet and the Danish author who wrote the original story.
Little Red Riding Hood. I don't know the author.
I'm afraid to say the ballet is not Little Red Riding Hood. Does anyone else go for it? Isabel?
Hans Christian Andersen, The Little Match Girl.
Well, it's Hans Christian Andersen, which is 1 point, but it's Wild Swans, which is no points. LEIGH HAGGAR. December 2021 is the 50th anniversary of the first greatest hits compilation by a Motown group whose songs include ABC, I'll Be There, and I Want You Back. Can you name them?
Jackson 5.
That's right. Isabel, 2021 also marks the 70th anniversary of an award-winning musical starring Gene Kelly as a struggling painter. When you've heard him perform I've Got Rhythm, I'd like you to name the musical and the composer of the music.
An American in Paris, Gershwin.
That's right. The lyrics were by his brother, Ira. Julian, away from their musical careers, Sonny Bono did it in 1988, Martha Reeves did it in 2005, and Kanye West did it in 2020. What did they do?
They stood for some elections in America.
That's right. You can stop there.
Right.
You've got the 2 points. In 1988, Sonny Bono was elected mayor of Palm Springs. Then in 1994, elected to the United States House of Representatives. From 2005 till 2009, Martha Reeves served as an elected councilwoman for the city of Detroit. And in 2020, Kanye West announced his candidacy to run for the presidency. Having lost, he changed his name to Ye. That is his now legal name. Leigh, music again. Let's dip into our stocking and unwrap a 2006 Christmas album from a Canadian singer-songwriter. Here's the title track, Winter Song, which was nominated for a Grammy. After you've heard it, I'd simply like you to tell me her name.
And this is how I see you in the snow on Christmas morning. Love and happiness surround you. You throw your arms up to the sky. I keep this moment by and by. Oh, I miss you now, my love.
That is Sarah McLachlan.
That is indeed Sarah McLachlan. Isabel, 2021 is the 50th anniversary of a legendary Morecambe and Wise Christmas show, guest starring Shirley Bassey and Glenda Jackson, and featuring a memorable invitation for Andre Previn to conduct which work by Grieg?
Grieg's Piano Concerto.
That's right, for 2 points. Julian, the carol Silent Night inspired a chapel built in 1937 as a monument to its lyricist, Joseph Moore, and composer, Franz Xavier Gruber. When you've heard Enya's unique Irish Gaelic rendition of the carol, can you tell me where in Austria you will find the Silent Night Chapel?
In the Tyrol, maybe that's not specific enough.
I think we'll need a town or village.
Town, Kitzbühel.
I'm sorry, that's not right. Can anyone else pick it up? And Isabel says?
Linz.
Oh, it's not Linz. Leigh.
Vienna?
It's not Vienna. It's Oberndorf, which is a few miles from Salzburg. Leigh, here's your own question. In March 2021, the Dutch engineer and inventor Lou Ottens passed away at the age of 94. He's of interest in our quiz because in September 1963, he introduced which revolutionary recording format?
Dolby?
No. And Julian says?
Is it 4-track stereo?
No, it wasn't. Isabel, do you want to guess a technological revolution of 1963?
2-track stereo.
Oh, I'm afraid it was the cassette tape. And that inventor, Lou Ottens, also played a major role in the development of the first CD. Isabel, here is your own question. To conclude this round, we're going to revisit a special Christmas edition of Counterpoint from 2011, when the program joined forces with the BBC Philharmonic. Guests Susie Klein, Julian Lloyd-Webber, and Tim Rice played party games with music conducted by Clark Rundell. Here, the Philharmonic perform a familiar Christmas carol. The twist is they're playing the melody backwards. Can you identify it?
Good King Wenceslas.
That's right, for 2 points. Congratulations. Now, here's the backwards order of the scores after the opening round. Third with 4 points, Julian Ashton. Second with 6 points, Leigh HAGGAR. And in the lead with 9 points, ISABELLE HEWARD. Now our competitors choose special subjects for the second round. I'm about to give them 5 categories to pick from. They get to choose in the order of their scores so far. However, there is some jeopardy as they have no prior warning of the choices and have had no chance to prepare. Some of the subjects are self-explanatory, others a little more thematic, in which the titles could encompass questions on several different genres of music. We'll discover how much of an advantage leading at this stage will turn out to be. Here are today's categories: winter folk music, Christmas number ones, wintertime in musicals, the life scientific, and a musical advent calendar. Isabel, you're in the lead at the moment. What would you like?
Christmas number ones, please.
And for you, Leigh?
I will go with the scientific one.
That leaves 3 for Julian Ashton: winter folk music, wintertime in musicals, and a musical advent calendar.
I'll have the folk music option.
This is an individual round. We don't offer bonus points for other people's questions. Let's start with Julian Ashton and your specialist questions on winter folk music. Which Irish folk-style song by the Pogues and Kirsty MacColl contains the lyrics, "Sinatra was swinging, all the drunks they were singing. We kissed on a corner, then danced through the night"?
The Fairy Tale of New York.
Correct. Music now from Ralph McTell. The Islands, co-written by Martin Alcock, concerns the M.V. Breyer oil tanker, which ran aground during a storm off the coast of Scotland in the winter of 1993. When you've heard it, I'd like you to tell me on which islands the tragedy took place.
As if the sea had realized the tragedy in store, its waves continued pounding about a week or more. Most of the crude was washed away and never came ashore. The sea regained its temper on the islands.
I think it was the Orkneys.
And I think you're not right. It was the Shetlands.
Oh, Shetlands.
In the Bleak Midwinter is a folk favorite, with a notable version of the song released by Bert Jantz in 1974. The lyrics were from a poem originally published under the title A Christmas Carol in the January 1872 issue of Scribner's Monthly. Which English poet wrote it?
It was Christina Rossetti.
That's right. Time for more music. Winter Stories is a 2019 album release by the Norwegian musician Jonas Felst, together with an American singer whose work has spanned 6 decades. When you've heard the song River, I'd like you to tell me her name for 1 point, and you can have a further point if you can name the composer of the song.
I wish I had a river so long I would teach my feet to fly. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on.
Well, it was written by Joni Mitchell. I think the singer was Emmylou Harris.
It was written by Joni Mitchell. However, it was sung by her old colleague, Judy Collins. 1 point. The 1987 album A Tapestry of Carols is a collection of ancient tunes from across Europe, sung by Maddie Pryor with the Carnival Band, who perform using replicas of medieval instruments. Band member Andrew Watts plays the curtal and shawm. What type of instruments are the curtal and shawm?
The shawm is a wind instrument. I guess the other one is a wind instrument as well.
And that's all you have to say for your 2 points. 2021 marks the 80th anniversary of the birth of the singer-songwriter Richie Havens. Here he performs a track written by Robbie Robertson, recalling the last days of the American Civil War, referencing the suffering of the South in the winter of 1865. Can you tell me the title of this song?
Virgil Kane is the name, and I serve on the Danville train. Till Stormer's cavalry came and tore up the tracks again. In the winter of 65, we were hungry, just barely alive. I pitched my tent and Richmond hat fell. It was the time I remember oh so well.
The night they drove Old Dixie down.
That is correct. And of course, it was Joan Baez who had the top 10 version in 1971. Finally, in this round, a folk group from the Northeast, fronted by sisters Rachel and Becky, have in recent years performed seasonal favorites for BBC 4, including a version of The Pretenders' 2,000 Miles. The sisters' unusual surname goes back to Reaver times, when the borderlands between England and Scotland were lawless. That surname became the band's name in 2009. What are they called?
The On Thanks.
That is correct. And thank you, Julian Ashton. In that round, you have 11 points. Added to your previous 4, you now have 15 points. And now for you, LEIGH HAGGAR, we examine the life scientific. Often described as the founder of modern physics, which Italian Renaissance scientist is name-checked in Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody?
Galileo.
That is correct. Would you like to say it a few more times?
No.
Okay. Music now. Here's a theme for a long-running BBC television series which explored contemporary developments in science and technology. The program introduced the viewing public to the wind-up radio, personal computer, and the Moog synthesizer. Johnny Dankworth wrote the original theme in 1965, but here's Paul Hart's composition from the 1980s, after which I'd like you to name the series.
Tomorrow's World.
That's right, it was Tomorrow's World that introduced the viewing public to the personal computer. Do you think it'll catch on?
I think so.
In recent years, scientific methods have provided evidence of the link between music and mental well-being. Listening to music is known to trigger the release of one particular neurotransmitter associated with pleasurable sensations, often referred to as the feel-good or happy hormone. But can you tell me its scientific name?
Serotonin.
I'm afraid we're talking about dopamine.
Oh, God.
In 2017, a research team from Montreal discovered that 5 particular pieces of music were highly effective in triggering the release of dopamine and improving emotional well-being, including this early 20th century piano composition. Once it has released your dopamine, I'd like you to name both composer and work.
Clair de Lune by Claude Debussy.
That is correct for 2 points. It was played there by the young Indian musician Lydian Nadhaswaram. Which Kate Bush song from her 2005 album Ariel shares its name with the ratio of the circumference of any circle to the diameter of that circle?
Radius.
I'm afraid it's pi.
Oh.
3.14. Would you care to continue? The perhaps unlikely source of your next extract is a Harvard mathematics professor who made a name for himself as the writer and performer of satirical songs. This one catalogs the chemical elements. For 2 points, can you name him and the Gilbert and Sullivan tune being parodied?
There's antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen and oxygen and nitrogen and rhenium, and nickel, neodymium, neptunium, germanium, and iron, americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, and lanthanum, and osmium, and astatine, and radium, and gold, protactinium, and indium, and gallium, and iodine, and thorium, and thulium, and thallium. There's yttrium, ytterbium, actinium, rubidium, and boron, gadolinium, niobium, iridium, and strontium, and silicon, and silver, and samarium, and bismuth, bromine, lithium, beryllium, and barium.
I know the guy. I can't think of his name.
Do you know the song being parodied?
Modern Major General.
That is correct. So you get 1 point.
Oh, thank you.
The vocalist and writer is Tom Lehrer.
Yes, the name completely went.
Finally, which chemical element with the symbol Hg is the name of an annual British music prize whose recent winners include Arlo Parks, Dave, Skepta, and the indie rock band Wolf Alice?
Mercury.
That's right, currently the Hyundai Mercury Prize. And so, Lee Haggar, in that round you scored 9. Added to your previous 6 means that you too now have a total of 15 points. We now go to Isabelle. Christmas number ones. In 1984, the charity song Do They Know It's Christmas became the fastest-selling single in UK chart history. It's been the Christmas number one no fewer than 4 times in various incarnations of Band-Aid. What's the opening line of the song?
It's Christmas time. Banish shade.
We'll give you 1 point for It's Christmas Time, but I'm afraid the other point would have been There's No Need to Be Afraid, which rhymes with shade, but that comes later. No need to be afraid of this Christmas number one. Mary's Boy Child claimed the top spot in 1957 and 1978. After you've heard the 1978 version, I'd like you to name the group performing it and tell me the name of the Jamaican-American singer who had the 1957 hit.
Now hear the angels sing, a king was born today, and man will live forevermore because of Christmas Day. Mary's boy child, Jesus Christ, was born on Christmas Day.
Boney M and Johnny Mathis.
Boney M is correct for a point, but the 1957 star was Harry Belafonte. In 1973, Slade and Wizard competed against each other for the Christmas top spot with songs which are now Christmas classics. Who won, and what was the song?
Slade, Merry Christmas, everybody.
You're right for the 2 points. I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day had to settle for number 4 that year. The 1983 Christmas number one, Only You, was a cover version of a hit from the previous year. Can you identify both the vocal group performing here and the band that released the original version?
Looking from a window above, it's like a story of love. Can you hear me? Came back only yesterday, moving further away. Won't you near me? All I needed was the love you gave. All I needed for another day. And all I ever knew. Only you.
The Flying Pickets and Yazoo.
That's right, for both points. The winners of television's X Factor had a firm grip on the Christmas number one spot for 4 consecutive years before they were ousted by a successful social media protest campaign that secured pole position for the American rock band Rage Against the Machine. Can you name any 2 of those X Factor artists that reached the seasonal summit between 2005 and 2008?
Leon Lewis.
Yes?
Ben Haynow.
No. So, you get a point for Leona Lewis, but you missed out on Shane Ward, Leon Jackson, and Alexander Burke. Your next question follows another musical extract.
We don't need no education. We don't need no
No points for knowing that was Pink Floyd with their Christmas number one from 1979. There are three parts of Another Brick in the Wall, which appear on the band's rock concept album, conceived by Roger Waters. What's the album called, and which of the numbered parts is that?
The Wall Part 2.
Well, yes, the album is The Wall, and that was Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. Guessing is good. Finally, in this round, the Beatles had three Christmas number ones in the 1960s. Which all-female group achieved this feat in the 90s?
Spice Girls.
It was the Spice Girls. And Isabel, in that round, you scored 11 points, which, combined with your earlier 9 points, gives you a total of 20 points. And at the end of the second round, we have a tie for second place. Julian Ashton and Leigh Haggar both have 15 points. And in the lead with 20 points, Isabelle Heward. It's fingers on the buzzer once again for the return of our quick-fire final round. This is where things can change quickly. A correct answer wins you 1 point, but you lose a point if you buzz in and fail to answer correctly. There are no bonuses. So fingers poised, here we go. In which revolutionary work by Vivaldi is Concerto No. 4 entitled Winter? And Leigh says it's...
The Four Seasons.
And she's correct for the point. In the song 12 Days of Christmas, how many ladies are dancing? Julian?
9.
That's right, for the point. Which 1985 song by the Waterboys mentions the fictional Scottish village of Brigadoon? Julian?
Is it The Whole of the Moon?
Correct. Which German composer's Christmas oratorio was first performed at Leipzig in 1734? And Julian says...
Bach.
For the point. In which 2019 film does a struggling musician played by Hamish Patel suddenly find himself the only person who has ever heard of the Beatles? Isabel?
Yesterday.
Yes. In 1982, Lionel Richie left which Motown group? Isabel?
The Commodores.
You're right. Which Celtic folk band share their name with a turkey-sized game bird that lives in the forests of Scotland? Julian?
Capercaillie.
That's right. Handel's Messiah was first performed in 1742. Isabel?
Dublin.
Yes. In the early 90s, which Canadian singer-songwriter won a Grammy for the song Constant Craving? Leigh?
K.D. Lang.
You're right. Known for the novels Dead Souls, Isabel?
Gogol.
That's right, for the point. Which word connects a 1970 hit for Shocking Blue with Holst's Bringer of Peace? Julian?
Venus.
That's right. Ralph Vaughan Williams' Seventh Symphony is named after which continent? Isabel?
Antarctica.
You're right. According to the Simon & Garfunkel song, who carries the reminders of every glove that laid him down? Julian?
The Boxer.
Yes. Jason Derulo plays the part of Rum Tum Tugger in which 2019, and Isabel says...
Cats.
Yes. In song titles, which word follows Jingle Bell, Crocodile, and Jailhouse? Julian?
Rock.
Yes. What is the real first name of both Noddy Holder and Bunny Wailer? And Leigh says...
Neville.
Yes. Finally, what are Summer, Buddy Holly, The Working Folly, Good Golly Miss Molly, and Boats, Hammersmith Palais, The Bolshoi Ballet, and Isabel says...
Reasons to be cheerful.
That's right. From The Reasons to be Cheerful, Part 3, by Ian Dury and the Blockheads. Let's see who has reasons to be cheerful as I reveal the final scores at the end of this first heat of Counterpoints. Third with 18 points is Leigh Haggar. Runner-up with 22 points is Julian Ashton. And our winner with 27 points is Isabelle Heward. Well done, Isabelle Heward. It means you'll be back for the semifinals in the new year. And well done, the other two of you, for giving us such an entertaining contest to kick off the new series. We'll welcome another 3 music lovers to play Counterpoint next week. I hope you'll join us. Meanwhile, if you miss the title or the details of any of the music we've played in today's quiz, you can always see a full list of extracts on our pages on the Radio 4 website. Until next time, from everyone here in the Radio Theatre, goodbye.